You feel the first drop before you hear the trumpet. It lands on your coat collar, warm even in February, and you know the night is about to bleed. Los Angeles after sundown always pretends it can wash itself clean, yet the rain only makes the sidewalks glisten like polished lies. You stand on bleeding Boulevard, listening to that lonely horn drifting from a basement club. It's past midnight and the street lamps sputter, halos quivering in the mist. What brings you out in weather like this? You tell yourself it's the case, but the truth is you were born chasing answers no one else dares to want. You're Mike Calloway, private investigator with a suit that has survived too many bar fights and a conscience that refuses to die. Tonight you wait for a woman whose voice turns smoke into velvet. Lila Hart promised to meet you outside the Blue Halo, a club that smells of bourbon, desperation, and old brass polish. She's the one who hired you, remember? A jazz singer looking for her lost saxophonist, Benny Knox. Musicians drift, sure, but Benny vanished like a riff cut short, and that tugs at something in your gut you still call decency. Footsteps click behind you. You spin, hand brushing the 38 under your coat. No need. It's Lila, shimmering beneath a black umbrella, lips red as a broken promise. You nod. She nods back, and for a moment the night hushes, as if the city itself wants to hear her speak. "Any news?" she asks. Her voice is low, the kind that makes every syllable feel like a confession, whispered over a slow drum. You shake your head. Rain drips down the brim of your fedora. You should be honest with her, but something in her eyes says she already knows honesty is scarce currency on this boulevard. You lead her inside. The club is a furnace of brass and sweat. Trumpet wails cut through chatter. Bass walks the shadows, and you feel the floorboards thrum beneath your shoes. The bartender nods at you, sliding a glass of something dark without asking. Maybe he trusts your tab, or maybe he fears what questions you'll ask if he doesn't cooperate. Either way, you drink. Lila moves to the stage for her set. You park yourself near the back, scanning the room the way a cat scans an alley. Musicians pack their instruments like soldiers polishing rifles. Politicians from City Hall huddle in a booth, whispers buried under laughter that sounds rehearsed. A fixer named Doyle leans against the wall, silver cigarette case flashing every time he exhales. Any of them could know where Benny is. Any of them could be shaping the story you're struggling to write. You feel the bass line coil around your ribs. Lila starts to sing, and the place quiets. Her voice paints smoke into shapes, and you let it carry you back to the facts. Benny Knox, age 32, saxophone player with lips always 2 steps ahead of his mouthpiece. Last seen 5 nights ago, after walking off stage mid-solo at Club Seraphim. Rumour claims he owed money to a ward boss. Rumour also says he'd been seen with a ledger tucked under his jacket, pages that could ruin careers. Which rumour do you follow? The one that smells of blood or the one that promises money? The trick in this business is recognizing they're often the same rumour. Song ends, applause erupts. You lean against the bar when you feel a presence beside you. It's Doyle, flicking ash into a tray like he owns gravity. "Calloway," he rasps, still dragging that moral compass through puddles. You smile without mirth. You know Doyle greases wheels at City Hall, fixes fights, strings favours like beads. He takes a sip of whiskey, nods toward the stage. "Nice pipes," he says. You arch an eyebrow. "Nice ledgers," you reply. He freezes for half a beat. You caught it. He knows something, maybe everything. You're about to push when a commotion breaks near the entrance. 2 plainclothes detectives shoulder through. You spot their badges, water-stained and impatient. They head straight to Doyle, but you block their path, pretending to adjust your cuff. One detective scowls. "Step aside, Seamus." You lean forward. "This joint's private tonight, gents. House rules." They glance at each other. Doyle fades toward the rear door. You've bought him 30 seconds. Plenty of time for a guilty man to escape. Why help him? Because if Doyle runs, he'll lead you someplace the cops can't reach. You follow. Rear alley. Rain harder now, drumming on garbage can lids. Doyle strides toward a parked Packard. You hail him. He pauses, lights another cigarette. Smoke mingles with steam rising from sewer grates. "All right, Calloway," he says. "What do you want?" You keep your distance, shoes splashing in shallow pools. "Benny Knox," you say. "You owe me a starting point." Doyle studies you, realizes you won't vanish, digs a small notebook from his pocket. Not the ledger you need, but maybe a trail. He tears a page, folds it once, hands it over. "Warehouse by the river. Ask for Clyde," he mutters. Headlights sweep the alley. The detectives have circled round. Doyle grins and slips into the Packard. Tires scream, and he's gone. You open the note. One address, one time. Midnight tomorrow. A setup? Likely. But leads don't grow on trees in this town. They fester in gutters. You pocket the paper, turn back inside. Lila meets you near the coat room, eyes searching. You hand her the coat you left with the attendant and whisper, "Tomorrow we get answers, one way or another." She nods, but fear flickers in her mascara dark lashes. Night deepens, and you head home to your office flat above a pawn shop. The rain plays a lullaby on the skylight, yet sleep comes like a crooked deal, full of hidden clauses. You think about Benny, about the ledger, about a city that pretends neon can blind you to shadows. You count the bridges you've burned and wonder how many are left. Morning arrives grey and hungover. You brew coffee strong enough to melt sins. Phone rings. It's your old contact at the coroner's office. "We got an unidentified male, late 20s, musician's fingers. Found floating near Pier 12. Your stomach tightens. Benny? You promise to swing by, hang up, curse softly. The city eats hope for breakfast. At the morgue, the smell of formaldehyde greets you like a slap. You step to the slab, steel cold under buzzing fluorescent light. Tag reads John Doe, number 471. You lift the sheet. It's not Benny. Relief burrows under your ribs, but guilt tags along, uninvited. Someone's son, someone's lover, not your man. Does that make you lucky, or just selfish? You leave $50 with the clerk for a proper coffin. You tell yourself that balances the ledger of your soul, though you know better. Back on the street, the day coughs up more rain. You drift downtown to City Hall. The marble lobby echoes footsteps like gunshots. You flash a bogus press card, ride the elevator to records. Clark remembers you, mostly because you always tip. You scan property transfers, campaign contributions, anything tying ward boss Victor Lang to Club Seraphim. 20 minutes in, you spot it. A holding company transferring funds to Lang's re-election war chest. Signed by B. Nash. No. So Benny wasn't just blowing solos, he was blowing whistles. You pocket the evidence, sense footsteps behind you. Lang's goon, big as a boxcar, stands blocking the exit. "Boss wants a word," he says. You smile thin. "Tell Lang to send an invitation." He grins back, cracks knuckles. You turn left. He lunges. Shelves topple, papers scatter like startled pigeons. You duck, jab, press the fire alarm. Bells shriek, sprinklers ignite. Water cascades, and chaos opens the doors for you. You slip past the stampede, heart-punching ribs, lungs burning. Outside, you swear the rain cheers your escape. Hours later, Midnight looms. You make your way to the river warehouse, colt heavy in your pocket. Shadows curl under abandoned cranes. Inside, a single bulb flickers over crates labelled produce, though the air smells of machine oil. You step lightly. Clyde? You call. No answer. You advance, nerves wired. A figure appears, arms raised. Benny, alive, sax case in hand. You exhale, tension melting, but stay alert. Clyde couldn't make it, he says. I'm closing the act myself. You ask why he ran. Benny sighs. Ledger's dynamite. Lang skimming city funds. I was whistleblowing. But then Lang offered money for silence. I took it, bought a way out. Thought Lila would follow. He reaches into the sax case. Not for a horn. For a ledger wrapped in wax paper. He hands it over. Proof, he says. You flip pages. Names, dates, payoff amounts. Enough to drown a mare. Footsteps echo. You whirl, gun drawn. Lila steps from the shadows, pistol levelled at Benny. Rainwater drips from her trench. She locks eyes with you, then Benny. Sorry, sweetheart, she tells him. Lang doubled the offer. Benny's mouth hangs open. You freeze, betrayed twice in one heartbeat. Lila turns to you. We could split it, she says, voice velvet soft. Walk away rich. Now what? Your code groans like an old hinge. Cash could buy a dozen fresh starts. Yet you imagine John Doe, 471, the mother who won't get a call. You lower your gun, but not in surrender. Lila, you say, you're forgetting the music. She frowns. You toss the ledger toward her. Instinctive, she tracks it. Gun shifting. Benny seizes the moment, tackles her. 2 shots crack, thunder stitched with lightning. Lila sprawls, clutching her shoulder. Benny stumbles, grazed. You scoop the ledger, shove it inside your coat, pull Benny up. Sirens wail in the distance. You tip the cops before coming. Insurance against betrayal. You tell Benny to run to the north exit, flag the first squad car. He hesitates. What about you? You smile, rain dripping off your chin. I owe the night a lullaby. He nods and bolts. Lila coughs, pain lacing her eyes. You kneel, press a cloth to her wound. She spits blood-tinged regret. Didn't think you still played the hero, she whispers. You shrug. Someone has to keep the tempo. Red lights strobe through busted windows. You stand, hands raised as uniforms pour in. Detectives bark orders, cuff you, seize the ledger, haul Lila onto a stretcher. You meet her gaze once more, and despite everything, you both smile. 2 performers who know the song is bigger than the players. Dawn creeps in like a shy note. Jail cell, metal cold, but your conscience feels lighter than it has in years. Outside, headlines will scream corruption, indictments, jazz scandal. Inside, you sit on a bunk, listening to distant thunder fading. You think of Benny's sax wailing again, mournful yet alive. You think of Lila, voice like silk, bound to sing behind bars for a while. And you think of yourself, drenched, bruised, but unbroken. The guard appears. Bail's posted, he says. You blink. Who would? He shrugs. A mystery for another night. You step into early daylight. The city smells of wet pavement and possibilities. Rain has stopped, but puddles mirror the sky. And for the first time in a long while, you see your reflection without flinching. You walk back to Bleeding Boulevard. Trumpet echoes in the distance, picking up last night's tune as if it never ended. You tip your hat to the morning and ask yourself, what now, Calloway? The answer comes easy. Keep walking, keep listening, keep the code alive. Because in a city where night always falls, someone has to remember how to stand tall when the boulevard starts to bleed. And that, you realize, is the only ledger that truly matters.